Hello everyone, this is Adam for RealHomeRecording.com. These are my favorite audio compressor plugins. I'm going to start with one that you might be like, what? This is not a plugin. Well, or this is not a compressor. Well, it kind of is actually. I definitely use it for the tape compression effect. More than anything, I use it for tape compression, which allows you to get a signal to be louder, but you don't really lose much quality. So I use VTM all the time. So I have it in my number one spot for that reason. Next up is the T-Rack's White 2A, which is a Teletronics or Universal Audio LA2A compressor emulation. And I use this on vocals. I use it on bass guitar, bass synthesizer. It's used on the snare drum, oddly enough. And it's just an overall nice compressor. It's really simple to use. It has two knobs, just these two. And you can choose limit or compress. And that's it. Very, very easy to use and sounds great. Next up is RVox. I use this all the time with vocals or voiceovers. It just gets used all the time, and I consider it pretty much a must-have for me. Next up is the Virtual Mix Rack bundle, which contains the FG401 and the FG116 compressors. The one on the left is one that Slate Digital made themselves. It's kind of an emulation, but not really. There's basically 4 different settings, characters that you can get out of this compressor. It's an all-around workhorse compressor. Pretty much you could get away with using this for every source, I would say. Next up is the FG116, which is an emulation of the Universal Audio 1116 LN compressor. And it's just a classic compressor. It gets used a lot. The alternative, which I used a lot and still will use, is the T-Rack's Black 76. Again, an emulation of the 1176 compressor. Another alternative is this, which I don't own, but I can at least show you guys. It's called the Stillwell Audio Rocket compressor. Again, an emulation of the 1116. These are just 2 alternatives to the VMR plugin. Next up, Vbc Rack, which contains 3 compressor plugins. We have an emulation of the SSL G compressor, the Mixbus G compressor, and then in the middle we have the Focusrite Red 3 compressor, and then under here, the very last one, is a Fairchild 670 / Manley Very Moo emulation. It's like a hybrid, and all these have different flavors. My favorite is probably the red. I really like this. It's just, there's something about the red that just makes the mixes improve. Although, you know, the FG gray is definitely a classic and I use it a lot, but the FG red to me sounds the best. I don't really like this compressor too much because it adds a little bit too much high end, but a lot of times just slapping this on and not touching anything makes mixes sound better, which is pretty amazing. Next up, this is an all-purpose equalizer. You have all these different modes. This compressor sounds good. It's cheap, and anybody new to audio mixing and that's on a budget, I definitely recommend the Klanghelm DC8C2 compressor plugin. This is a 670. This is called the Vintage Compressor 670 or Vint Comp 670, which is a Fairchild 670 emulation. Definitely sounds good on the drum bus, acoustic guitar, vocals. It can sound good or bad depending on who's singing, but this is pretty much a classic compressor, and iCape Multimedia did a great job on it. This is an alternate to the 670, and it's free, but it's VST only. So for at the time of this video, I believe it's VST only, and it's VST 32-bit only at that. So, you know, but hey, you know, you get what you pay for. But this is a really good sounding compressor, and if I didn't have the other ones, I would probably use this one all the time. This is another free compressor. Again, free does not mean bad. Free just means that it's free. The Millat Compressor from Vlad. I don't know how to pronounce the rest of his name, but Vlad Sound, I believe, is the name of the company. And this could do a Fairchild emulation along with a Neve 33609, I believe is the model number. But basically compressor limiters, and a lot of people love this plugin. I don't use it a lot. I've used it on like one mix because I have so many other plugins that I paid for that I kind of feel like, well, I paid for them, so I may as well use them. But as far as a freebie is concerned, this is great. Another good freebie is this. It's the Tdr Kotelnyk of Compressor. This is a great sounding free compressor. There's also a gentleman's edition that you can buy that has more options, but man, this is a beautiful plugin. It doesn't really look that fancy, but underneath it is doing an awesome job, and it's actually something I like to use on voiceovers, but it's a lot. I mean, you could pretty much use on any source where you want compression, but you don't want it to sound like it's compressed, if that makes any sense. And then finally is another Stillwell compressor. This is called the Major Tom. This is based off of the DBX 160 compressor, which is some would call it a one-trick pony. It's great on snare drums, bass guitar, and oddly enough, claps. You know, like the claps that you hear in hip hop and R&B and all that. It makes those type of instruments poke out. That's what it's really good for. And although it's a one-trick pony, it's damn good at doing that trick. So these are my top compressors. What did I leave out that's awesome that I'm missing? I know I left some out, but these are the ones that I recommend. I offered alternatives. The ones that I use, though, all the time boil down to, let's see, going through all these. I don't use that. I rarely use that even though I own it. Let's see, don't really use that. Don't use that. And just started using this. So, but I plan on using this a lot more. By the way, this is also great on the master bus. I forgot to mention that. Very good master bus limiter. And this was actually a spin-off of the, what is it called? A feedback compressor from TDR. So yeah, anyway, that's it. If you only need a small handful of compressor plugins, these are the ones I recommend in this list right here. This has been Adam for RealHomeRecording.com.